In today's video, we're going to be diving into the months of December, January, and February and taking a look at why East Coast snowstorms are going to be so prevalent this upcoming winter. We're going to be diving into that today. Now, before we get into things, be sure to check out Prestige Weather in the description, pinned comment, and the top right corner of your screen. We do weather consulting for businesses and individuals alike. We do a lot of consulting calls, consulting emails, consulting texts, and we have an exclusive community for you guys for weather consulting. It's all for only $5 a month, and we're actually running a promotion right now for Black Friday. If you put in the code DIRECT at checkout, you will get your first month for only $1. Be sure to check it out today. Now let's dive into things, and as we take a look here at our 500 millibar geopotential height, we're going to be taking a look here at our jet stream, some of the high pressure systems, and the low pressure systems here. So I want to show you how we're already kind of in the mix of this type of a pattern that we're talking about today. Let's just dive into things. I want to take us towards our next storm system that really looks to potentially take this track that we're talking about. The first signal and the first sign of this pattern that we're going to see here is this kind of above average temperature and higher pressure area in the west. This is very indicative of a positive PNA, and what this does is it forces the cold air to dive into the east, which we are actively seeing happening. And we're seeing low pressure develop off the east coast, also near the Gulf Coast as well. And this is where pressure is getting relatively low in here. As you saw in the thumbnail, this is where I expect these storms to develop and move through. In this particular case, we're going to be watching this area here to develop and move up the coast. So let's just move this a couple of hours here, and we can see that there is plenty of cold air really in this area here. We see a low pressure system developing near Cape Cod in Massachusetts. Now, this is going to be a really active storm track through the wintertime, in my opinion, and this could lead towards a lot of snowfall. We can see this rapidly intensifies to a 994 millibar low pressure center near Maine and New Hampshire, right there. And again, tons of cold air because of this Arctic air mass is set up in this area, and this is going to just provide the potential for snowfall. Picture perfect setup there. And really, we don't see much more of that until later on in the pattern. Once we move towards early December into mid-December, what we end up seeing is this warmer positive PNA blocking taking place out west that we talked about. So again, positive PNA out here, and this forces the cold air into the east. We have some lower pressure here near the mid-Atlantic. Classic stuff. And if we were to follow the jet stream, it's doing something like this. So a ridge in the west, and then a trough in the east. Very classic, and this is going to lead towards a lot of snowfall opportunities, and we stay kind of locked into this all the way through the 10th of December. And really, once we take a look at this European Ensemble model precipitation forecast through the next 360 hours, we can tell that this pocket here is where a majority of the activity is moving through as storms move up this way. We also have some above average activity here in the northwest as well. So keep that in mind, that these areas are the primary regions that we're watching for above average precipitation. And really, that all comes as a result of above average storminess. As we take a look at this temperature pattern here on our European weekly model, we see that we kind of remain in a cold in the east pattern through the majority of the rest of the month of November. Right now, let's take a look at the 10th through the 17th here. We do have plenty of cold in the west as well. Keep that in mind. So this is more like a negative PNA. But we do have colder temperature anomalies being picked up here in the east as well, and this would provide ample opportunity for potential snowfall. Anything near normal to below normal is definitely going to support snowfall to potentially happen. And we stay with some below normal temperature anomalies all the way through the 1st to the 8th of January timeframe here, where we have the blues in here indicative of colder temperatures. Again, keep in mind, the west is also featuring the same thing. What this tells me is we're not going to see deep cold in the east. You would probably want to see a positive PNA for that. So we'd want to see yellows and reds in here to support very cold air in the east. But this type of a pattern would be enough for snowfall. And honestly, in some of your most brutal cooldowns, it's so cold that it forces the storms further and further south to the point where they can't even reach the areas that you would be watching for snowfall. So more moderate cold air is usually more favorable for snowfall than really severe Arctic outbreaks oftentimes. That's not always the case, but in a long range pattern, that is more of what you would want to see for really, really snowy patterns. Let's take a look at the month-by-month outlook, and this is your CFS model this time around, and we do actually have that positive P&A, warmer temperatures out west look here, so I'm going to draw a positive right there. And then we can see that a lot of this cold air is actually directed towards the eastern seaboard. Now, if we have storms moving along the coast as a result of all of this, that is going to really, really lead towards snowfall opportunities in the mid-Atlantic and the northeast, potentially even the southeast. Let's move this towards January here. And we do get a winter thaw here. We actually, on this model, do see warmer temperatures prevail in the east. Things start to look a little cooler out west. People are going to be calling for winter to be canceled, basically, and that winter was a failure. And then by February of 2024, we see this model resorts back to that positive P&A pattern in the west, redirects the cold back towards the east, and again, likely going to have coastal storms moving by at the same time. And the snowstorms are basically going to be turned back on for this eastern seaboard corridor. And my evidence for that, let's look at the precipitation anomalies here. This looks very classic El Nino to me. We see the southwest dealing with some above average precipitation as we do see storm systems moving through this area. And then we do see this storm track here, like I showed in the thumbnail, where we'll have nor'easters moving through the Gulf Coast, eventually off the East Coast, leading towards above average precipitation all along this pocket here, likely resulting in some potential snowstorms in this pocket here. Now, as we take this towards January, we really get a lot of the same, maybe even just amplified. Again, the southwest corridor here, where we have storms moving through, above average precipitation, and then along this Gulf and East Coast once more, we have above average precipitation again, combined with some colder temperatures, could lead towards, again, these coastal snowstorms to take place. That is going to be a really big thing to watch for. Let's take it all the way to February. Again, this was a colder month on this model, and this is going to be extremely coastal, but we still have a lot of greens very close to the coast there. So this is going to lead towards above average snowstorm opportunities here along the East Coast, maybe even the most coastal in this February outlook. So that is going to be certainly something to watch for here. Again, the Southwest still really active as well. So we have this active Pacific jet stream moving through the Southwest, and all three of these months we've been very quiet in the Northwest. So that is classic of an El Nino. Usually in an El Nino, we see this southern jet here doing this, and then we have the northern jet moving through like this, and they kind of combine here and create East Coast opportunities. You can see the area lacking a jet stream is going to be this northwest corridor of the United States, and that's why they end up being dry, I think, every single one of these months. So December, January, February, you can see that all three really have some dry conditions up there in the northwest, and that certainly would be something to watch for in an El Nino winter like we're expecting. So we're certainly going to be expecting that, and that is going to result in a lot of snowfall opportunities along the southeast, mid-Atlantic, and the northeast overall, maybe even portions of the Ohio Valley. So we're going to be on the lookout for that all wintertime long. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe for daily uploads just like this one. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.